Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to a new week. All right, I think we just came live on Facebook, so happy Monday, everyone there. Okay, so we're going to do a yoga class this afternoon. I'll take us through the disclosure, and then we'll get started into the yoga class. So my name is Jessica Davis. I'm a fitness and sports instructor here in Gagetown, New Brunswick. It is, I don't know what it's like wherever you are in Canada, but it is very hot in New Brunswick today, where I am anyways. So I'm going to keep it fairly gentle and more of just a stretch rather than a fluid or power yoga, just because it's so hot where I am. I don't have the energy to sweat and move this afternoon because I already did this morning. So we'll keep it fairly gentle today. And I think I'm going to bring some focus into shoulders for today as well. So I'll start with our disclosure. Bring it up here for me to read. Okay. So in response to COVID-19, PSP is offering telefitness to Canadian Armed Force members. By using social media platforms, the telefitness classes tailored to the Canadian Armed Force personnel become accessible to all. Prior to participating in this session and to make an informed decision on whether you should seek advice from a qualified exercise professional or a healthcare provider, please consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference document, simply by clicking on the links below. So over on Facebook, we should be posting there. You'll see a link come up in the comments, and it'll have the Get Active questionnaire as well as the reference document. If it doesn't show up for you there, you can scroll back through to any of our live videos on Facebook, and you'll see the links posted in the comments there. So just check that out before we get started. By continuing with this telefitness class, you understand that there's a possibility of physical injury, and you agree to do so voluntarily and at your own risk. You also assume all risk of injury and agree to release the Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services from any and all claims related to your participation in this telefitness class. Okay. All right. So otherwise, for the yoga class, you will need, the only thing you really need is a mat. If you have blocks or some textbooks or even a pillow or a rolled up blanket, if you're used to doing yoga and you know there's some relaxation poses that you like to have a prop for, a bolster, whatever you have, then you can grab those as well. And then we are, through doing some shoulder movement, we're going to be using a strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap at home, you can also use the, what are they called, resistance bands, like the elastic exercise bands. You can use one of those. You can use just a towel, something that you can grab at both ends and kind of give your shoulders some range of motion with. So yeah, grab something like that as well. T-shirt, towel, anything like that works. And have some water on hand if you need it. Okay, otherwise we will get started. So we're going to start just seated. I like to prop myself up on a block, so I'm just going to sit on a block and cross my legs in front. So just so you know, if you are able to elevate your hips a little bit off the ground, a lot of people find it's much easier to stack your spine when your hips are elevated like this. So if I took the block away and I sit down now, my tendency is to slouch and round my back, whereas if I'm sitting on the block and it's under my hips, then I just automatically get an open chest in my seated position. It's actually more uncomfortable for me to hunch than it is to sit up straight when I have a block or a couple textbooks or something underneath me to give my hips some height. Have your strap just close by, so it's somewhere that you can reach it fairly easily. And we're just going to get started with some breathing, just patterning our breathing and taking some deep breaths to start. So close your eyes if you can, if you're willing, and just focus in on your breath, ignoring kind of your surroundings and just looking inward. So sit however is comfortable. You may be sitting with your legs out in front of you, cross-legged like me. You can be sitting on your knees and shins with your feet tucked underneath of you. And just close your eyes and start to notice the pattern of your breathing. Maybe it's quite shallow. Notice if you are just expanding through your lungs and then exhaling right away. Or are you taking the time with each breath to inhale through your lungs and then inhale fully through your diaphragm and your belly before you start your exhale? Just check in with that. Notice if now that you are thinking about it, if you're naturally trying to deepen each breath. Feel and notice the way your chest, your ribs, maybe even your spine and back, notice how they move with each inhale and exhale. Do you feel like you have a lot of kind of sway and movement through your spine and chest as you exhale and round your shoulders? And inhale, do you open them up a little bit? Do you feel yourself sit a little bit taller each time you inhale? And then can you keep that height through your spine as you exhale rather than slouching back forward? So let's focus back to the depth of each breath. So if you'd like, you can place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And as you inhale, feeling your chest expand first. And once your chest is fully expanded, then start to expand and fill from your diaphragm and belly as well. Once you've taken that full deep breath, let yourself exhale first from the belly, letting the diaphragm collapse, and then the chest, and feel the breath exit out through your mouth or nose. Now at the top of each inhale, so inhale, expand your chest, inhale, expand your belly, and then hold that full breath in for an extra moment before you again exhale through the belly and then exhale through the chest. And then at the bottom of the breath where you can't expel any more air, you've taken it all out of your lungs, hold it there for an extra moment before you breathe back in. Take 2 more nice deep breaths with this awareness of how deeply you are breathing in, how fully you are exhaling. And then let your hands fall back to wherever is comfortable on your legs or your knees. We want to try to continue this nice deep pattern of breathing throughout the whole class. You can keep your eyes closed if you can. And we'll start moving our neck a little bit. So inhale, moving your head over to face the right, so you're looking just right over your right shoulder. And then exhale, bring your head back to center. Inhale, looking to the left. Exhale, back to center. And we're moving our head nice and slowly back and forth because we want the full length of our breath, either in or out, for the traveling of our head back and forth. So inhale, and it should take you your full inhale to move your head all the way to the left. And then it should take your full exhale to move your head all the way back to center. One more time to the left. Back to center. Good. This time we're going to drop our ear towards our shoulder. So right ear to the right shoulder as you exhale, and then we're going to inhale back up to center. So let's all go to the left together. So we're going to inhale. Exhale, drop your left ear to the left shoulder, nice and slow. And then inhale, rise back up to center. Exhale, lower to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, one more to the right. Inhale, center. Take a deep breath here and let it all go. One more for our neck. We're going to inhale to look to the right, so we're looking over our shoulder to the right. And then we're going to exhale and tip our chin down. So we're bringing like our nose towards our shoulder, but we're not lifting our shoulder towards our nose at all. We want to keep our shoulder down, away from our ears, but just tip your chin and your nose down towards your shoulder. Look back up and to the side to your right, and then exhale back to center. Inhale to the left, and let your nose drop. Exhale, lift back up and come to center. Inhale to the right, drop your nose. Exhale, lift back up and through to center. One more time to the left. Inhale, drop your nose. Exhale, lift and center. Take a nice big inhale, rise your arms up overhead. You can lift your gaze and start to flutter your eyes open, looking up at your hands. And then as you exhale, let your hands fall to each side, and you can give a big sigh if you would like, and kind of round through your back. We're going to do that again. Inhale, hands rise all the way up. Exhale, side out. And round your back a little. Whatever movement you need through your shoulders and your head. Inhale, rise one more time. And exhale, let it all go. Good. Now we are going to grab our strap. So your strap, your t-shirt, your pillowcase, your resistance band, whatever you have. We're going to start a little bit of a flow for our shoulders. So hold the strap nice and wide, whatever kind of distance of strap you have. You want almost a full arm's length or wingspan, whatever you want to call it, to start. So you don't want your hands to be too close together on whatever your strap is, nice and far. We're going to start with the strap in front of us, and you can choose to close your eyes or keep them open for this again. We're going to inhale, so we're matching this to our breath. We're inhaling the strap up overhead, and when the strap gets overhead, we should have our full inhale at this point. As we exhale, we're going to drop the strap back behind us, and by the time the strap reaches our glutes, then our full exhale should have happened. And then again, we will inhale and rise the strap all the way overhead, and exhale, drop it down in front of us. So I want you to remember the depth and the length of breath to keep throughout this. We want it to be a nice, slow, and controlled movement. The goal is not to see how quickly you can go bringing the strap behind and in front of you. It's to be nice and slow and controlled and to match your breath. So I'm going to let you go for a few rounds of breath just on your own pattern and rhythm of breathing. So I won't guide you through inhaling and exhaling. Just remember the things that I've talked about so far and keeping in tune with that. So here we go. Start your first inhale. Rise your hands up overhead. Try and close your eyes if you can, so you can just focus on your breath. Exhale behind. Now it's on your own pattern of inhale and exhale. Try to keep that pause at the top and the bottom of each breath that I had talked about earlier. So whether the strap is behind, in front, or above you, just taking that pause with your breath before you start moving again. Inhaling to rise the strap, exhaling to lower it. The next time you bring the strap in front of you, exhale it down in front. And if you would like, you can start to walk your hands a little bit closer together along the strap. So don't do it too quickly, but you can start to bring your hands closer together so that you get a little bit more of a stretch as you rise and lower your arms with each breath. See if you can count the seconds within each inhale and within each exhale. And see if every time you are inhaling and every time you are exhaling, if your length of breath is matching the same rhythm. Keep going nice and slow and controlled. And we'll all meet back at the front whenever you make it there. Let your hands fall in front. And then just take a second of stillness. You need to stretch out your neck, give your arms a little shake, whatever type of movement you need, then feel free to take that. And we're going to continue with one more piece here with the strap. So we're going to continue to do what we just have been, but exaggerate it even more through our chest and our back. So we're going to start to really open up and expand our chest, and then really collapse our chest and round our back, depending on which part of the breath we're in. So again, you can sit however is comfortable. I just need to give my legs a little stretch here for a second. And we'll start with our inhales and exhales again. So same thing as before. Inhale, rise your hands up. Exhale, lower them down behind you. This time, really open and expand your chest. You can choose with your hands still on the strap, you can open up your chest, looking up, really expanding as much as you can. And then as we come around back in front, as you drop the strap in front of you, you can collapse your chest around your shoulders, tucking your chin into your chest. And then as you inhale, starting to open back up again as you get to the top. And then looking up as you drop your hands behind you, expanding and rising through the chest. Exhaling, coming forward, dropping the hands in front, rounding your back, collapsing your chest, bringing your chin down. And then inhale again. So what we're really trying to do is as we're inhaling, bringing the strap down behind us, as we exhale, we're taking up as much space as we can, feeling really open and wide. And then as we bring our hands back to the front, we're collapsing in, rounding our spine and taking up as little space as we can. This is creating a lot of movement, gentle movement through our spine, as well as our chest and our ribs, our collarbones, and the type of movement and this little flow that we don't generally get throughout the day. Let's go one more time. Hands behind. Open and expand. And one more time. In front. And collapse. And then just let your strap sit in front of you and come back up to just a neutral seated position wherever's comfortable for you. and take a couple breaths. If you need to do any little neck circles or stretches, then you can do that. Maybe you want to place your right hand down kind of beside and behind you. Lift your left hand up overhead. Stretch and look up to your left hand. And let's do that to the right or to the left. Placing your hand down beside and behind you. Stretching that hand up overhead, creating a bit of a stretch through your side body. And back to center, setting that hand down. Whatever other movement you need before we switch it up a bit. So wherever you are in your seated position, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So you can just move your strap to the side. If you had any blocks, you can move them to the side and just start to swing your legs around, coming onto your hands and knees in a tabletop position. So here in tabletop, we're going to continue our spinal movement like we were just seated. So through cat and cow, we'll continue that motion. So we're going to inhale, which will lift your chin, lifting your gaze. You're going to drop your belly and lift your hips. So you're creating a nice big dip in your back. This is your inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to round through your back, dropping your chin to your chest and dropping your tailbone towards the floor, stretching your back and your shoulders up nice and high, pressing them into the ceiling. Inhale again, drop the belly, rise the head and tailbone. Try to close your eyes for this if you can, and feel nice and slowly in your movements. You can feel each vertebrae moving at a time. Slow and controlled to match our breathing. We're still using that same deep, lengthy breathing pattern that we started with. When you're in the full extension of either cat or cow, you can kind of play around with moving the weight distribution in your body, either from knees to hands, or when I'm up with an arched or a hunchback in cat, I like to move laterally from side to side and really give a big stretch and flow from side to side in my shoulder blades. So you can start to move in whatever way feels good for your spine. You can start to even create, rather than a flow from dropping your belly and rising it, you can start to create kind of a lateral barrel roll, imagining that your spine is like a jump rope and pushing up through your spine when the jump rope is at its highest, and lowering your belly, bending through your elbows to drop your spine or the jump rope towards the ground, and then you're adding in that lateral motion by bringing your weight from one hand to the other. If you are doing that barrel roll, switch directions. You might get a few pops and cracks through this different kind of spinal movement if you are not used to it. And then slowly just start to make the movements a little bit smaller. Bringing your body back to stillness in tabletop. So your gaze is just a few inches in front of your fingers. Take a couple nice deep breaths here. Your back is nice and flat, not arched in either way. Let's bring our knees wide. So bring your knees to the edges of your mat and your toes come in together, and then push through your hands to sink your hips back over your feet and bring your forehead to the mat in front of you. You can also bring a block, a book, pillow, whatever you have in front of you if your head doesn't quite reach the mat. Then you can come here as well. So wherever you are, just taking some nice deep breaths in a position of rest and stillness. On your next inhale, come back up and rise into tabletop. Bring your shoulders back over your hands. Tuck your toes under, come up off your knees and move them back into, to be right under your hips. So we're back in this tabletop position. As we inhale, we're going to lift our right hand up to the sky. Look up at your right hand if you can. And then we're going to tuck the right hand and arm down underneath the left and just hover it on the ground. Inhale back up, rise the right hand to the ceiling. Exhale, thread it down and underneath the left arm and just hover it once again. One more time to lift up. Thread it down and through under the left. This time we're going to set the arm down on the mat. We're also going to set our temple on the right side down on the mat and just have our left hand beside our face, still supporting if you need it. Close your eyes here if you can. Nice deep breaths still like we have been practicing, and feel a stretch coming nice and strong through your back and the right side of your upper back and shoulder. You can play with the way your weight is distributed through either your left and right knee, so moving laterally with your weight, or coming forward and bringing weight into your right shoulder, or sitting your hips back more and bringing weight into your knees. You will feel a different kind of stretch depending on how your weight is dispersed through your body. Take one more breath here. Place your left hand down beside your face, lifting up. Rise your right hand up to the ceiling one more time, and then lower it back down to your mat. Inhale here, and exhale. On your next inhale, rise the left hand up to the sky. Look up at it if you can, and we're going to thread it and lace it through under our right arm, just hovering it on the ground. Inhale, rise the left hand back up to the ceiling, nice and tall. Exhale, hover and thread it down through under the right arm. One more time, inhale to lift, looking up, feeling nice and tall, stretching up towards the ceiling. And exhale, thread it down and through. This time we're going to place the left arm and hand down on the mat, as well as the temple or the side of our left, on the left side of your head. And again, same as the other side, you can shift your weight around a little bit, really feel your breath expanding through your chest, or not through your chest, through your shoulder, I should say. Two more nice deep breaths here. And using your right hand, you're going to place it down in front of your face, pushing up and through your right hand, lifting your left hand back up to the ceiling one more time. Stretch, stretch up, and exhale to set it back down into tabletop. Take any movement your spine needs after that stretch. Walk your knees to the widest you can on each edge of your mat again. Sink your hips back over your feet. Stretch your arms out in front. And we'll come into child's pose again. For some nice deep breaths. Walk your right hand over to the right until you feel the right edge of your mat. And then walk your left hand over on top of your right. You're going to sink your weight back into the left hip on top of your left foot and just feel a big stretch come up through the side, the left side of your body. Walk your hands back to center. Take a breath here. Walking your left hand all the way over until it feels the left edge of your mat. Walking your right hand over on top of it and sinking back into your right hip and your right foot. Feeling that nice big side stretch come up the right side of your body. Walk your hands back through to center and just take one or two more, just nice deep kind of collapsing into the floor kind of breaths. And take your time, don't rush. Or if you want to stay in child's pose for a few more breaths, you can. But otherwise, just slowly bring yourself back up into a seated position. So slowly come back up, seated on the mat. And then we're going to swing our legs around to come down to lying on the mat. So just lying on your back, however is comfortable for you, whether you're using some pillows or blankets as props to make it comfortable. If you're using your if you're using your yoga blocks to make it more comfortable, whatever you need. Bring your hands so they are, the palms are facing down, down beside your hips. And again, just close your eyes. Come back to those nice deep breaths. One more stretch here. We're going to rise our hands up overhead. As you inhale, let them fall down to the ground behind you. Take a nice big full body stretch first. Stretch your toes out in front, stretch your hands back behind. And then similarly to what we did with our hands, we're going to let our left heel come over to the left edge of our mat until you feel it there. And then bring your right foot and cross it over so that your right ankle is over top of your left ankle. And you're starting to kind of make this banana shape with your lower body. Now bring your left hand to grab your right wrist and move your hands up overhead to the left side. So now you've really created this banana shape with your body, and just let that nice big stretch happen on your right side. Full side stretch, incorporating your shoulder, your chest, your ribs, your torso, your hips, your quads, that full trunk stretch. And just relax into the mat here within this stretch. In your next exhale, bring yourself back to center. First, bring your arms directly overhead, walk your head back if it moved at all, and then unwind your right heel and bring your left back to center. And just take a breath or two in center and stillness. See if you feel any difference on the right side being stretched as compared to the left. And then let's walk the right heel over until you feel the edge of your mat on the right side. Left ankle crosses over right ankle. We start to make this banana shape. Right hand is going to grab left wrist. And then we're going to bring our hands and our head over more to the right side, creating this banana shape. Breathing nice and deep. Feeling that expansion happen through our upper arm and shoulder, chest, torso, ribs, hips, and down the side of your thigh. Two more nice deep breaths here. And then slowly let your upper body and your head come back to center. Uncross your left ankle from your right and bring both legs back to center. And take a deep breath. Bring your hands back down to each side. If you feel like you need a tight little hug into a ball, you can bring your feet up towards your hips. Bring your knees over your chest, and then just hug your arms around your knees. Make yourself a tight little ball. Maybe rock back and forth. You can tuck your head and your chin in, or you can rest your head back down on the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a low back massage. And then Set your feet back down when you're ready. If you have a few minutes to just end off in full stillness and silence, come back truly to just your breath, then please take a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you'd like to finish off with in stillness. If you have to begin to rise again and continue your day before some stillness, then you can slowly start to roll onto one side. Kind of curling up in the fetal position. Then on your own time, nice and slowly press through your top arm into your hand and the mat beside you, and bring yourself back up to seated. Slowly letting your eyes flutter open, letting your body come back into a little bit of movement, and just take your time getting back up into a kneeling or standing position, since we have spent so long down on our mats. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I will see you again on Friday for some mobility. So please, everyone, have a great week. Enjoy the sunshine if you get it, and I will see you on Friday. Thanks, everyone.